Welcome back to another Onslaught devlog. I'm excited to show you a brand new area of the game, the Grassland. I started by creating all the layers of the environment and putting them into the game here. My plan is to have the Grassland be the first level, because it's more inviting and less foreboding than the graveyard. It's an amazing change of pace to have a bright level. I've been looking at the graveyard area for so long. Okay, now that the environment is set up, I've got lots of cool new enemies to make. First up is the slime. The slimes ended up being so cute that it's a bit sad that you have to kill them. But they're attacking you first, so that makes it feel a little better. Now, all the enemies that I've made so far just rush at you, so I want to switch things up with this next one. While brainstorming, I thought that a mushroom might wander around as opposed to running at you. The mushrooms periodically release poisonous spores that hurt you if you walk through them. And, of course, I added the obligatory bounce if you jump on their heads. Now, the mushrooms not running at you brought an issue to my attention. Sometimes you won't know where the last enemies might be if they're off-screen. So I decided to add one arrow on each side of the screen that point to the closest off-screen enemy. I really like this solution because it shows you the necessary info without adding a ton of arrows for every off-screen enemy. And I made the arrows fading and movements buttery smooth, which adds to that juice factor. And while I'm here testing with these bats, I'm really bothered by the bat attack. The fang things really don't look great. What could I replace the fang projectiles with? As I was considering this question, I thought about how bats use echolocation to locate their prey. So I changed the fangs to sound waves and made them gradually fade out. I think this effect looks a lot better. Alright, back to more grassland enemies. I wanted to add a really small goblin enemy that's scared of you and tries to throw rocks at you from a distance. So I added this little guy. He pulls rocks out of the sack he's carrying around. The first two people to see the goblin both independently told me that they thought it looked like a turtle. I assured them that it is not a turtle. But apparently the sack looked like a shell, which I guess is fair. I hadn't considered that before. But I didn't want to fully remake the goblin enemy sprites. So I had the idea to recolor the goblin to be red instead of green, which should keep people from thinking it's a turtle. So after recoloring the goblin, I worked on making it so that instead of just approaching you and stopping at a certain distance, the goblin also runs away from you when you get close. I got it to work perfectly on the first try. Now, with the goblin enemy finished, I showed it to my sister who was visiting that day. And she asks me, "Is that a red turtle?" Bro, it's not a turtle. It's not. Man, I'm so done. My entire artist career gone. I don't know, guys. Like the video for more turtles, I guess. Anyways, next up I made a mole enemy. Surely this one doesn't look like a turtle. I'm actually really happy with how the animations turned out on this one. And for any of you thinking that the mole getting beheaded is a little gory, a little bit excessive, well, it's not my fault. Believe it or not, my mom actually suggested that animation. Apparently, when her dad was younger and working on a farm, he lopped off a mole's head with gardening shears because they're pests. I think it's hilarious how the same person telling me I shouldn't have red particles come out of enemies because that's too gory, also suggested beheading them. But hey, it did turn out really satisfying. At this point, I needed to add a couple of flying enemies for some variety. I added dragonflies to be a lower health enemy that could swarm at the player. After that, I also added a hawk enemy. I'm super happy. Oh, he's gone. Okay, as I was saying... One more second. Okay, it should be good now. I'm really happy with how the hawk turned out. It flaps to gain height and launches feather projectiles downward, and dives down at players below them. I really like how the hawks circle the player. It looks very menacing. And if you like how these enemies are looking so far, you should wishlist Onslaught on Steam. And while you're at it, maybe subscribe to the channel so you can follow the game's progress. Next, I added a rattlesnake that starts rattling when you get close, and bites you when you're in reach. As this is the first level and I want to ease players into the game, I'm not planning to have a boss fight at the end of this area. However, the Grassland does definitely deserve a cool mini-boss. So I made this goblin spearman that charges towards you, then follows it up by spinning his spear around at you. Now that all the enemies are done, I can finally put together the wave layouts for each difficulty. If you're wondering how I create the wave layouts, each wave is an array containing a struct of information for each enemy that it spawns, such as the enemy type, spawn location, and time when it will spawn. All of that put together gives us a versatile wave spawning system. And with that, the Grassland is tentatively finished. Later on, after I complete some more areas of the game, I'll come back and refine it. Be sure to let me know your enemy ideas. Maybe I'll add it to the game. I'm happy about the progress I've been making on Onslaught, and I've got a lot of cool stuff in the works that I'm excited to show you soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.